Hi everybody, I've just come from an amazing place. We can't give away too much, and I will talk to you when we get down there about this incredible history. All I can say is that we are in Medway at an undisclosed location. It's an exclusive, so I've had very express permission to document this. And I want you to come along with me. I want you to come along and let's just explore it together. I'll talk to you about the history. Obviously I can't give away too much because obviously that would give away really the location. But I'm going to give you some really cool stuff, and promise me, I think we're going to have a lot of fun when we go down there, like just checking out this amazing opportunity and building. I'm not even going to tell you what it is yet, but you'll probably know it's underground, so come on with me. Wow, so here we are at just an incredible place really in Medway. Very lucky to have the opportunity to film this today, and it's literally once in a lifetime opportunity. So basically the landlord has just, I'm the only person to actually film down here ever really with permission access, which is why we need to keep it really secret here. However, wonder if you know what it was originally. So let me just give you a brief idea. So we are in some vaults, but they're not any ordinary vaults. Of course they're not any ordinary vaults. They're dated from around 200 years ago. In fact, this was the last phase of construction for 200 years. In fact, they were even earlier than this, but unfortunately a fire had pretty much just taken everything away, and then they rebuilt it again. So what you're seeing here, although I'm going to show you some really early stuff as well, what you're seeing here is actually the 200 years old sort of construction. So we're sort of talking like Victorian times basically. How cool is that? But right, come with me, and I'm gonna be your guided tour for today. So we're not going to do anything fancy. So sorry to everybody out there if you want to see some fancy, clever stuff today. We're just going to keep it really simple. The first thing you're going to notice is you're going to see these amazing numbers, which imply that they are vaults. More importantly, I will shine a torch in here to implement it. Ta-da! Now, they're no ordinary vaults, as I mentioned before. In fact, their main primary focus or purpose was that every single vault that is here was actually used for storage of alcohol for all the pubs that were in the vicinity. How amazing is that? So literally at one point, you would have had barrels and barrels of various different alcohol, and the numbers would have represented the pubs or the different pubs. So in other words, such and such, a name of a pub, again I can't mention because it might give stuff away, would like to get their their extra stores in their barrels, so they would allocate them to number 3, like a pitch, I suppose we could sort of say. Instead of having your own allotment, you have your own little vault with extra alcohol in it, which is amazing. So you'll notice, we'll have a look at them. Number 2, number 1, if you can see that. So number 2, number 1, we'll have a look at those, and then I think it goes 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I do remember seeing number 6 down there, but we'll worry about that later. So the layout, we'll talk about the layout first. What the layout is basically is that what we're going to do is it's basically the vaults are in the middle, and you can walk around the outskirts of it. So picture that. So just picture the fact that you are in a central column, which is all these vaults, laid out like this, but you can actually walk around the outside of all of it as well, so you can see those vaults on both sides basically. So without further ado, come with me. What we're going to do is we're going to start at the far end, which actually has got some of the cool stuff, then we're going to walk our way to the actual end of it, and then there's some cool stuff at the end. So it's kind of crazy. You walk down, the best stuff is at the far end of this end, and then the really good stuff is at the far end as well. So come with me, let's have a look. So as you can see, is number 2. So again, it would be interesting to know. The thing is from what we know is that actually the numbers we don't actually know what pubs had what. But on here though, I can say this. This has got to be one of the coolest things that I've seen in a long time. Now again, we can't obviously give it too much away. So what you're looking at is an operated winch system. Now, above us, this door would sort of open almost like as a trap door to allow access for alcohol and everything else. So you could get your alcohol from here and bring it up to the surface. But even more interesting, this arch that's here, that would have led off into another pub as well. So in fact, actually, one pub would have had exclusive access to all these vaults anyway. But even cooler than that, let's have a look. Oh. So even cooler than that, you can have a look around here and you can get the idea of what this is. You can see this surrounding wall that we're now walking across, and then when we look up, how crazy is that? If I take away the torch, it might actually come out better. See the rust, and obviously that's at ground level. You can see these winches and everything else, but it's just amazing, isn't it? Originally there would have been a door frame here, so there would have actually been a nice little door that would have probably, I'm assuming, I'm looking now, look, you can see there's a hollow section there. I'm assuming the frame of the door probably would have fitted in through that, and it probably would have been a double door. It could have been a single, but probably looks like more it could have been a double door. Right, but the cool stuff is right there. So, without further ado, let's go and have a look at it. So, I'm going to stand here first, and then I'm going to actually walk around. This winch works. I can't believe I actually said that all in one go. This winch works. This winch was the winch that you latched up these loops right to, over here, right to the hatch here, and that's what would have actually opened it. But I'm going to walk around so you can have a look. Oh. Yes, it is full of cobwebs. So this winch really does work, and by proof of that, this is how good this winch is, okay? So this is an original winch. I'm going to prove to you how amazing and how well kept this is. I'm literally going to use 2 fingers, and I'm literally just going to do that. And that is how easy that is to operate even now. I mean, can you imagine the fact that over time, obviously I'm using my hand now, but you can imagine that even that was so easy to lift and to operate. Obviously you've got your catchment system there as well, so every pin obviously locks in so that you don't have the threat of it coming backwards. So obviously it only moves forward. So what we can do, sorry everybody, we'll lift that up because, try it again, because obviously you can see the chains have actually pretty much tightened it up, but look at that, how incredible, actually works, amazing. Right, and then like I said, it links up to these little these little rollers. So actually, let me show you these as well. So if you come around for me, chains I'm assuming would go on these rollers, and then the rollers from those chains would have helped use to lift or open that, so you can get your alcohol and everything. Crazy. Right, as you can see on here as well, we're going to talk about that. What you're looking at right at the far end is actually the original wall. It's the actual original section of wall that's here. Pretty much everything else you see is actually from 200 years ago. But that original wall, we're going to take a closer look at that in a minute. Yeah, and here's our winch. Crazy. Come with me. Got loads more to show you. So these are still, we're back in our vaults now. So again, this is number 2, we're assuming this is going to be number 1. Before we do anything else, I just want to focus on this section and then we'll head to the vaults. So come with me. As you can see now, this whole section is basically a store. And it's just basically a store for the adjacent buildings that obviously we're underneath at the moment. Again, I don't really want to say, but this is quite a substantial underground structure that goes across multiple buildings. You can see again, part of the original wall. So the outer wall here is all original, with the modern exceptions on there, as you can see from the original. So again, this, I think it was a fire which actually caused the original damage. It's amazing to sort of note how much that really did cause a huge amount of damage. Nice little bit of pipe in there as well. Obviously you can imagine there being pipes and stuff like this. So yeah, it's just crazy. And when you look back, it's just these beautiful arches that we see. Like, I mean, the construction is really, really brilliant. I mean, it's just absolutely fantastic. And then what we'll do is we'll head, if you come with me, we'll go to number 2 because it links up with number 1. And this actual section is quite interesting because this is one of these vaulted sections that links up both, although separate pitches, I suppose. And yes, these cobwebs, from what we've been told, haven't actually, you can see it hasn't been cleaned for a long time. But yeah, it's quite a sort of, I mean, we when we came down here to obviously get shown around, I mean, yeah, I did get caked in a few of them. It was quite exciting. But, so this obviously links up to the other vault where the winch is. So we're just getting a good idea of our dimensions. And then here, this is what I want to show you. So we'll come around the other side here. Here is the beginning of what we call like the outer corridor. Now what we'll try and do is we'll weave our way in and out of all of this. So obviously this is the corner. It's not the original corner. The actual original corner is on where the winch is, where you saw that. And if we look above us, yes, we're at street level. Well, obviously that is the street level right there. And then you come with me into the gloom. The original wall. You can tell that it's a very early based wall because the mortar and the types of stone, really, it's not brick. So when you take a good look at it and you get a good feel, I mean, that is very, very old. There's even bits of flint in there as well, so you can tell that those flint bits, actually, if we look like they've just been quickly meshed in there with the original wall. Because that's not, I think that's stone, that's definitely not flint. It's been meshed in, and then you've got some bricks, which I'm assuming, again, maybe damage would have been used to help rebuttal it. Yeah, and then you've got these nice little crevices, which I'm assuming from wear and tear from the actual wall. So all of this has been literally over time. This is where this rebuttal's gone, and then through the wear and tear, it's just literally falling apart as we speak. It's very, very old. And then if we look down at our big foundations, like, not foundation stones, but they're pretty much the grounded stones. And then the dreaded sections. Well, so far so good. We're going to do like a mini sort of figure of 8 for everybody. And it's amazing, actually. We're sort of like talking about this before. I've only brought my tiny torch today. There are 2 lights in here, and that's it. And then you've got, obviously, the light coming down into the entrance. But apart from that, it is very dark. And in fact, what we'll do is a treat for all of you out there. We'll turn the lights off, and you can get to see it in the pitch dark. Well, you won't get to see it in the dark, because it's dark, isn't it? But, anyway, as you see, I walked through pitch number 3, or vault number 3. And this one again, very similar. You've got an interlinking opening there, and then it goes into, gotta be careful of these cobwebs, goes into the next vault, which is here. And then if we look around, it's just amazing because the landlord had basically said he didn't really want to touch any of this. So it's literally, I mean, I think he said he took it over about 30 years ago, I think it was. Might be wrong on that. I think it was about 30 years ago, a bit longer than that. Yeah, okay, 30 years ago. And so he's had it ever since then. And even then, when he'd noted that he came down here to check it out, I mean, it had been locked for years and years and years before that. So nothing's really changed. And obviously, the only thing it has is just a bit of storage, really. So it's amazing, actually. The condition does look grubby, but in a strange way, it's good because that's the original condition. So anyway, let's walk through. Careful of the cobwebs. And then as we look up, to the magical number 4. So we're now at the 4th vault, and it's really simple because we can look back at our intersections here, and they're easy to label. So like I said, number 3, number 2, and then number 1 at the far end. So we're just over halfway now, and yeah, this is where it starts getting dark and creepy, because when you look down there you can see there the lights, and then when we come down here there's no lights. So we're simply relying on the torches. I think that looks like a number 8, I want to say. Can you see that? Do you reckon that looks like a number 8? Yeah? Looks like a number 8? Cool. So, like I said, we're going to just keep walking around for a second, and yeah, talk to you more about it in a minute. Right, so we're now at the far end, so the opposite end of the vaults. And this is really the bit for me that's probably the best bit of the whole lot, really. And I need you to come and really witness this. So we've got the original wall here. Now again, we can't give away too much, but you can see there's some masonry, and you can probably imagine that is very, very old masonry. In fact, a better example is if we come through here and we get to see this. Now, without saying anything, all I will say to you is this would have been part of an original wall that would have stretched quite a long way around where we are, and it probably would have been late medieval. Let's go with that. So, not a precise date, but obviously you can imagine this masonry is very, very old, and this is really the only two fragments left of that original would have been the foundation of the wall that would have headed up. So, the only other things to mention in this section, so we're in number 8. We're in really part of number 8. This is just an open space, as you see with the vaults. Again, probably one of the more clearer sections. And if I just stand here, this is the only real obvious modern section that you can see, where they've obviously changed and taken out some of the walls to obviously help just make it in sequence with everything else upstairs. Absolutely beautiful. I mean, like I said, even that brickwork, even though it's very modern, it's still in keeping with what we're looking at. And now, the final bit, if you'd like to come with me. So the final bit is in number 6. And what we're going to do is we're going to come from number 6 and we're going to head back into number 3. So, in number 6, which is the final vault on this side, so assuming that we probably would have said 6, 7 and 8. So 7's behind us, what we just walked through, that linked up to number 8. Now we're in number 6. And again, more modern, more later brickwork fitted into some of the older brickwork. Again, probably because it was trying to reinforce some of the original stuff, basically just to shore it up a little bit more. But you can tell, all of you out there who are probably watching it, that's quite easy to sort of like understand the differences between the sections of brick that we're looking at. But like I said, it's 200 years old, most of this stuff that we're looking at. And even though it's 200 years old, it's 200 years old in such an incredible historic way that it still survives here. And as I was sort of like mentioning about these types of incredible places, it's amazing to actually, if people knew what they was walking across on a day-to-day basis, they would be absolutely shocked. So, let's talk about the final couple of 6 shelves. So, this is basically just the corner. Would you like to go in? This is just really the final corner section of the sort of outer wall and the joining part of it. And then, if you come with me, sneak through that. We're now obviously pretty much back where we started. So we literally came from there and then we walked through for the adjacent vaults. And that's pretty much it. That, I think, was a drainage. What was?
I think it's a coal.
Yeah, it's coal. No, it was a coal hole, wasn't it? Sorry. Yeah, I think it was a car hole. Think
That
of
was it,
Yeah. I knew there would be one bit I couldn't remember. Because the other thing
You
with
did
this,
well.
Because the other thing is that none of this has been documented. So to actually find any historical records on this, you just can't do it. So it's literally come from hand-me-down information through the various landlords. Again, looking at the original brickwork here. So we'll just walk through and then we're pretty much done. So like I said, looking through to this other vault here, which would be vault number 5. And then to end on back where we were in the middle one, all the cobwebs, and yeah, absolutely incredible. Let's go for it. Good. So there we are, our amazing hidden vaults within Medway. Just brilliant, isn't it? Really just incredible. Actually, do you know what? I think we'll end in the corridor so you get the better dimensions of everything. I think that'd be quite a nice way to sort of like just finish it off really. Yeah, so here we are. So we're like pretty much just off centre now. And obviously with the wonderful sections. So what I did was I showed you the different vaults, just as a recap for everybody. I showed you the amazing pulley system to open up and lower the cellar. Technically it's not a cellar, but obviously to open up the vault so you could transport your alcohol and everything. And the horse and cart obviously would have been up there. And then, if we look behind us, I also showed you at the far distance, you can sort of see it where my light is on that top right corner there, some of the original wall that's even older than old, literally older than me, older than probably most people out there. I hope so, otherwise that would be really weird. You'd be like a knight, you'd be like a knight in shining armour. But yeah, so it's amazing. We've covered really some incredible sequences and phases here. Apart from that, there's nothing really else to sort of mention, except thank you so much for the owner and the absolute amazing opportunity. Hope you really enjoyed this video. Hopefully we did a really good job of showing you around. In the immortal words of Phoenix history, thank you so much for coming along with me. Because history matters, it really does, doesn't it? And I will see y'all very soon. Take care for now. Ready? Come on then. Cut. Bye everybody. Take care. Look after yourselves. And yeah, I better get out of here, obviously. So, and it's pitch dark. So I'm just about to turn the light off. You ready for this? Alright, I better disappear. See you later. Boom.